Everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. We are continuing on with our readings surrounding KEI'MANI Latigue, and this is focusing in part 13. So parts 11, 12, and 13 have been focusing in on the grandmother. Check them out. I have a playlist down in the description box for KEI'MANI's readings I've done. We're nearing the end. This is the last part for the grandmother, and then maybe sometime in the near future I will do like a wrap up of like what's to come, like what are the key months ahead or key things that we're going to see as the case unfolds and develops. We'll do a, future forecast type of reading. But for now, we're going to wrap up in this video the reading for Dorothy, the grandmother. Everything that is stated in this video is of my intuitive hits, my own opinions, and also for educational and entertainment purposes only. And all things said are alleged, right? Okay, question number 8. What does law enforcement think about Dorothy and whether she's involved? What does law enforcement ultimately think? Let's see what we've got. I shuffled this deck good. And this card came up for her in question number 1 in part 12. What do they think about her level of involvement? 4 of air, truce, some kind of negotiation, some kind of deal. I'll pull some oracle. I don't get a sense that law enforcement really has their sights set on her, to be honest, with the 9 of cups or 9 of water and the 4 of swords or 4 of air. And the key word on this tarot deck is truce. Some kind of deal or some kind of understanding, allegedly, between law enforcement and her. I think in the coming months ahead, 4 months is associated with the 4 of swords. Or the season of early to midwinter. This is the timing of days. Or the season of late summer. So you know what I'm getting a sense of? They know something as it relates to whatever it is that she felt the need to cover up that was going on, that KEI'MANI had to live and be a part of. And there's some sort of understanding with that. But I don't get a sense that they feel like she had anything to do with this. Okay. Now look at this. Check this out, just as I'm saying all of this. So this is an interesting card because it almost feels like they have her like a sitting duck, like having her feel like, she's good to go. But there's something that's going to come up as it relates to KEI'MANI and her. I just sense that it's something to come up with their dynamic, their relationship, not necessarily directly related to Darnell or what happened to KEI'MANI that took her life, what's responsible for taking her life or who is responsible, but something else. But law enforcement in general, I just get a sense they feel like, she's good. They're not really having their sights set on her that way. We have here the family oracle card. They are looking at familial connections and friends and associates connections with this friends card. The reason why I think that law enforcement or some other legal agency is looking further into or investigating allegedly what was going on in the household is because of this card. We have accident. It says emergency or someone in need of emergency or something like that. So more to come in terms of something happening in the summer or something happening in the upcoming summer. So past summer, something being revealed related to Dorothy's house, Dorothy, or something going on allegedly, or into the future as well of what's to come. We finding out a bit more information. But they also, law enforcement feels like she was like a sitting duck. in a way of like not necessarily contributing, but there is a truce. There is some sort of understanding, a deal, an agreement, a handshake deal of some sort. But law enforcement is looking at the family tree and close relationships as it relates to maybe folks in and around KEI'MANI, family members, friends of family members, people inside the house, people near the house, etc. Okay, I'm going to pause here and shift the cards over to that corner. Question number 9. What is grandma's wrongdoing as it relates to KEI'MANI? Just period, just in general. Let's see if we can get a card. Father of Water, King of Cups. I want just one more. One more, please. One more. What is the wrongdoing here? Father of Water could be fed up, walking away, certainly leaving her alone with this Deuces card. I'm going to use it as for con man. Okay. Okay. It's interesting. This card keeps coming up again. Photos. That's yikes. Okay, so Father of Water and Four of Fire, Four of Wands, perfection. This is about forming the perfect foundation for KEI'MANI to have been exploited by someone she should have been able to trust, and not just even her father, but you know, in the past readings I've done surrounding KEI'MANI, I could feel the heightened strength that was coming over, like in the months and weeks preceding her death, and it feels like it's tied to something within the house. You know, this what was supposed to be a stable situation, it left her wide open to being vulnerable. I say that because we've got this card, the Deuces card. It says fed up, cutting ties, or just walking away. But for me, just leaving her in vulnerable positions, that is a wrongdoing, allegedly. That is, bare minimum negligence. You're supposed to provide a loving, safe, and stable environment, and it just feels like that's not what we were getting here. We have here con man, doing little odd things to come up, dealing with people who are maybe con men, I don't know. Having those kind of people around, maybe, allegedly. Greedy, motive of being greedy, wanting something, with us learning about her wanting something as it relates to KEI'MANI. And Sun. A male, allowing a male to be around. There's a male there to be around. Treating someone like a son when they weren't. I don't know. Helping or facilitating inadvertently or intentionally or unintentionally this son or this son figure. This is a toxic situation, poison, giving her something that she shouldn't be taking, allegedly, all alleged. Or it could just be metaphorically speaking, giving something to a child that they are not ready for. It can become toxic to the system. Something like that, right? Doesn't necessarily have to do with that, but I suppose it could deal with actual substances, all alleged. Just giving some interpretations of what the cards could mean. Photos. Some kind of photographic evidence. That comes down the line. This could be what that truce is about that I saw, the Four of Air in question 8. Okay, we'll stop there. Stick those to the side. Okay, question number 10. Is there anything to the allegations of random felons or addicts living in the grandmother's home? We have 2 of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. Okay. These would be yes cards. These are what we call affirmative cards. That could be the evidence of what needed to go. Evidence of someone living there, doing certain things, or she wasn't sure if there was illicit things happening. And so all this is all alleged, friends, okay? But we've got 2 of Pentacles, yes. We also have Queen of Wands, which is an affirmative of yes, a woman in charge, perched on, sitting on her throne. And so it could be, yeah, there is some kind of juggling folk coming in to other people, at least at a, so there's that. Controversy, it says drama, scandal, truth coming out. So that is part of the scandal, right? But there's more to come. And it feels like it's not going to necessarily come from Dorothy. It may come from someone else who may have lived there, or someone who knows someone who lived there at one point or another, who comes forth and confidently shares what's what. In the coming weeks ahead, or the season of spring. We are in the spring now at the time I'm recording this, which is April 28th, 2025, in the evening time. I don't even know what time it is, but Queen of Wands represents either the timing of 13 weeks from now or the season of spring. It could be this spring or next. But a woman, could be Dorothy, but I feel like it could be someone else who has the inside scoop about this controversy. And because of the environment, it wasn't safe. It did lead to certain things just happening, and where KEI'MANI was, in a position to be victimized, allegedly. Controversy. This is a controversial topic. There was drama going on. There's people who know about drama, scandal, and that truth coming out. That's what I was talking about over here. Unfinished business, proposal, forgiveness, or reconciliation. Okay, and unemployed, broke, fired, living beyond their means. And so this gives us an insight as to why she would even have someone else living there. It's because she would like the money, right? The help, the assistance, or to help someone to get a leg up in life, to get on their feet and move on. So there's that. It's like, okay, you do this for me, I do this for you. You get this space, you live here. But there's a lot that hadn't been shared with like the Child Protective Services Agency. It's what I'm getting a sense of here. It wasn't shared that Darnell was coming around. That wasn't told. And some people are like, well, KEI'MANI didn't even admit that her father was coming around. But that could be because she was told not to. And there was probably a lot of things she felt she could say because her grandmother didn't specifically say you can't say this, such as like being uncomfortable at home or not feeling safe, or the whoopings, but then also certain aspects that were financially tied to keeping things secret for the best for everybody involved. Queen of Wands, 2 of Pentacles. I'm juggling all this and that, and if you want, you don't want to get into a worse situation. You need to keep this hush hush. This is what I'm picking up on here. Okay, there we go. Let's move on to the next question. The text messages. What is up with that? And does the grandmother know the origin of them now? Father of Earth, King of Pentacles. Okay. Does she know the origin? No. Okay. All right, friends. I mean, some people think that she created those text messages, but I don't know about that. And I don't know if she even really knows about them, period. Like in the sense of like origin or this even happening. I don't know. I'm going to pull some oracle cards. I feel like this is like a red herring situation. I'm using my Secrets Reveal True Crime Oracle, 180 cards here. Yeah, this is feeling like some sort of, I don't know. I'll show you what I mean. When I asked the follow-up question, does she know the origin of them? We got a no card. To the question of what's up with the text messages, does she know? Like, we got this is a money motivating thing. Thwarting attention. This is interesting. 3 of Swords, grief. Could be even a male that orchestrated them. I don't think she had anything to do with sending them or creating them or doing any of that. She received them. She doesn't know even the full extent of, at this point. Now this could change, but right now she doesn't know the full extent of even what people are talking about with these messages. It always felt off to me. I'm just going to say that with the messages. Like, I never heard the news or, talk about it or ask the grandmother. You would think of ransom text, even if it's fabricated by Darnell, that it would be talked about, but it wasn't. What was that about? This card came up in the past, and this sheet reminds me of KEI'MANI. Someone who was trying to frame, and have a narrative. Robbery or burglary gone wrong. Extortion gone wrong. Thwarting someone off and away from the situation. It could very well be Darnell. Did he have something to do with the... I don't know, you all. This feels like a interesting tidbit. Will we ever find out about these text messages? Because it's not even saying he. It's not even saying he really fully has anything to do with it. At least maybe this is just from Dorothy's perspective too. But this is why I was saying it feels like there's something else going on surrounding her. Someone with a strong financial motive, Queen of Pentacles here. Using this whole opportunity to do something, to make something happen, to get money. Accomplice has come up again. Law enforcement, I would hope, is aware of this accomplice person. What started out, or what should have been someone stealing or taking something from someone. And we know that Darnell is charged with one of these. I think burglary is one of his charges related to KEI'MANI. But this accomplice card is next to this, and it's like, okay, Could it be someone tied to that to throw them off as it relates to her? KEI'MANI. Private property. I'm not quite sure what this means, but all of these are just telling me no. It's someone with a motive, a financial motive. It feels like that's how all of this really started. And I don't know how we ended up in this sick, twisted world with Darnell being charged for doing this to KEI'MANI. It's like, whoa. Because what the script was is different than how it all played out. And I think a lot of people are a little like scattering and shell-shocked by that. People closest to the situation. They wanted to, whoever put this out, the ransom text messages, wanted to amplify the story of, like, it looks like the person who is closest to KEI'MANI did this, and it's easy to buy, like, oh, she's putting out these text messages. But please, anyone, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there anything anywhere where the grandmother admits to these receiving and sending text messages? Because that'll be interesting to just even pull cards on that. But I haven't seen it, but let me know. Let's move on to the next question. Do the messages have anything to do with what happened to KEI'MANI? That is question number 12. Yes. Yes, they do. This is an affirmative. I'll just put that here with these. It'll be like a little sub question. Yeah, I would say they did. And the thing is, the Page of Swords is about communication, messages. I want us to see something here. Hold on. So look what we got. Page of Swords is a yes. It did have something to do with an element of covering up tracks of, like, some kind of financial gain or plan that was underway, and someone being vindicated when it all is said and done, either during the winter season with the Page of Swords or the timing of 11 months from now, for example. But the Page of Swords is about a delay and someone being vindicated. It seems like her being vindicated about these text messages, the grandmother, but she will be at some point in the distant future. But it did, to answer the question, yeah, it did have something to do with an element of covering up someone's tracks as it relates to a financial motive and their implication into why they would even be a part of something like that, tied to KEI'MANI. It just really is sad because she was like being pulled and tugged for people's different motives, and that really upsets me knowing that. Set this to the side. All right, so last question 4. I had to shift some of the cards around. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Last question. What's next for the grandmother and this case? We have the High Priestess, secrets being revealed soon. Okay. 7 of Wands, a defense, perhaps. Maybe we find out that she has some kind of legal representation, as she should, honestly. Even if they told her she was fine, that they don't suspect her or anything. It's just in these kind of cases, you are going to need counsel, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But in terms of what's to come, we're going to get some more information and how deep this stuff goes. Okay. High Priestess. Inner knowledge, a woman having inner knowledge or wisdom or secrets. her having to defend herself and be constantly on the defensive for some time to go. At least for the next 7 weeks, people are still going to have suspicions, and probably long ways to go from this spring until next spring to going into summer. The High Priestess represents the time period of June 21st to July 20th. So maybe that time period this year or next year, we find out more information. And in terms of what the grandmother knew or was told, or how much, why she felt she had to keep certain things secret, or why she moved the way she did, more will come out as it relates to that. I do not sense with these cards. Now, this card is interesting. We have the R word, mental health. I just don't get a sense that ultimately she had anything to do with the crime itself. Now, some people could look at these cards and see something entirely different. I just think that she created an environment, this Empress card, that lended itself to such a thing to happen. And that's where her ultimate wrongdoing is. And it goes back to allowing certain people to be around, doing certain things, leaving her alone, things of that nature, and that being a part of her secrets. This is concerning, maybe being aware of something recently happening to KEI'MANI. I don't know. We'll see how this pans out, what this card is. Mental health, we will probably start to hear about maybe her mental health faltering, or someone close to the grandmother's mental health crumbling. But I sense it could be her. We're going to get more and more information as time progresses about how deep this murky situation went. And yeah, some people are going to be not very pleased with what they find out about her and her lack of maternal instincts, I suppose. I say this because of this card. It says motive, honor. What we expect from grandmothers is to be nurturing, loving. She has a place where she fosters a sense of safety and just where you want to be. And it's really sad that that's not what it sounds like KEI'MANI experienced. And so more will come during the Empress periods. Right now we're in one of the Empress periods of April 21st to May 20th, and the next one will be September 21st to October 20th, where we're going to find out a bit more about the environment that not just that KEI'MANI went through, but also perhaps even Tiara, her mom, and then, of course, with just the history going on with regards to the grandmother, Dorothy. Like, it just passes on and on and on, like what we see with religion, like this, this continual cycle going on and on, generation over generation over generation. And yeah, there are victims in that. There are victims. And so we learn a bit more about that. And I think that's what's not going to be feeling so great. We have the swamp. Who's in the swamp? Who all is tied to that, keeping this all, going. But yeah, this to me felt like, she could be, we could hear, we have bravery. I suppose it could be her being brave, but it also could be about her. Seven of Wands is about a defense, or having to be on the defensive, especially in the next 7 weeks from the time of this video, and for much of spring. Government or military. I don't know what that could mean. Yeah, that's what I said. Judge, law, legal system, government, and military. You all can let me know what you think these cards mean. But like I said, I was like feeling it. And in my chunky Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle, it's interesting that these two cards are the ones that jumped. And also not just her being on the defensive, but the agencies that were to investigate what happened here. Also, like the Child Protective Services, they call them CSB or LCCS, and that's the name of the agencies. There's that. There's just going to be also in the coming weeks ahead, we'll be hearing a bit more about what's going on with the task force, and it may not be until next spring and summer of next year that we really get the full scope of what all was going on here and the failures that happened. So that's what I pick up, you all. I know you probably were thinking there's some kind of big conspiracy with her being at the helm. I suppose that could be the Empress, but I don't pick up that with her. I just don't. I feel like, if anything, she's just not a great grandmother and mom. And I think she probably feels that way and knows it. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't. But I'm not picking up on her orchestrating something with the father to do all this. Now, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong. But that's not what I'm getting here. So you all let me know what you get with your card readings, what you see in these cards, or your intuitive hits, or what you know about the case. Maybe you're local and you know things and you've come up with some theories yourself, or maybe you just feel like it's just the father who's accused and it's just him and him alone. Everybody is entitled to their opinions as long as they are respectful. That's it, okay? But I find these interesting. I do. I'm going to sit with these a little bit. But really, truly, I think it just goes with, yeah, everybody's going to be on the defensive, okay? And you're going to hear more about that. More about that. If you want to know more about his prosecution, Darnell, check out the playlist and find his readings. You'll see his little ugly mugshot on his, on his videos I've done for the readings. So you can then check out what's to come for him. So that's what I got, you all. I'm going to take probably a little breather, like I said before we move on to the what's next reading with this case. Let's give it some time. Let's see how things play out in the coming weeks ahead and months ahead. I probably will come back sooner than later, hopefully, to do a reading, to tie up everything and wrap it up. And then we just wait for justice. And we do what we can to raise awareness about these beautiful children who are at risk. And we've got to do better as a society. That we can do. We don't have to sit and wait to do anything for that. We can, let it be known with our newspapers and publicly in protest. And we can, reach out to our representatives, and we can see what organizations are actually trying to make a difference and support them. There's many different ways we can show up and help. We can be foster parents and help 1 or 2 children at a time, but we can't just sit idly by anymore and not do something to disrupt what has been going on generation over generation. And there's plenty of blame to go around here, but at the end of the day, a child's life is lost, and we need to not let her death be in vain. So that's what I have to say, friends. My sincerest condolences goes out to KEI'MANI's loved ones and the community. I am so, so sorry. I think about you all the time. I think about her every day. And you all take good care. All right, do me a favor on your way out, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We will be covering other cases, so I'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.